Hello, how's it going? This is the Eldercast, the very first podcast on Scars and Hide. I'm Damien.
I am Harry.
How is it going, everybody? Right, I'm going to be completely honest with you. This is my first ever podcast. What about you?
Yeah, my first podcast too. Never done one before.
Well, I'm going to be completely honest. I think we're both pretty new to this, and we're just gonna see how this goes.
Yeah, I think we should get into it, hit the ground running, and
Absolutely. Get to the mojo.
get straight to the Jew. Yeah.
Get straight into the meat of everything. Alrighty.
Straight into the nitty gritty.
Absolutely. Now, we're tried and true Elder Scrolls fans. All right. Now
To say the least. To say the least.
We both have a burning passion for the series, and I think it has all of this sort of element of like intrigue. There's so much player interpretation, and I think that's a goldmine of podcast topics. So, what we're going to do is, before this camera started rolling, we got some stuff together, and we thought, what would be the most interesting thing to start off with? And I thought, right, podcast, controversy, they go hand in hand.
Hey.
Right? So let's pick the most controversial topic in the most recent Elder Scrolls game, the Civil War of Skyrim.
Ulfric, Stormcloak, and General Tullius.
Yeah. Now these two, it's sad, it's tragic because these two used to be buddies. They used to be.
Yeah,
well, I wouldn't say buddies, but they worked together
on the same side.
On the same side, the
side.
Empire. You know, they were. It's sad because there could be people listening who think Ulfric is the man, and that's completely fine. He does have a lot of cool moments. But
but I think that's kind of his thing. Towards the player character anyway, he's kind of seen as the I don't know if you could say this, the rogue,
the Chad.
He is
the Chad of Elder Scrolls 5.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, everyone knows it. He's cool. He doesn't take no crap.
Yeah,
and he
And I think that's why, again, you can say in Skyrim why all the Nords really look up to him.
Yeah, they do.
Because they do kind of see him as, I don't know if you could say, the saviour of Skyrim.
And that brings to mind quite a good point from Saerland. Saerland is the son of Jarl Layla Lawgiver in Riften.
Yes.
Saerland is a die-hard Imperial supporter, in amongst a bunch of Stormcloak supporters for his family. He's the black sheep of the lot. But when you speak to him, he says that Ulfric is a manipulator and he spreads lies. And one of those replies that you can give him is, what sort of lies does Ulfric spread? He says, well, he uses Nord freedom as his rallying cry to get all of the Nords behind him. So, to Saerland's eye, Ulfric is no more than a liar, But
I do feel like he has got a bit of a reputation for being a manipulator.
Yeah, I personally think he is a big
and we
one.
all know the stories that the Imperials say of how he unfairly killed the High King of Skyrim.
And what does Ulfric say about that? He says that it was no murder. It was fair.
And I think that does kind of leave the player up to interpretation of what they might think of it. And I do like that. It's what I love about Elder Scrolls game. It leaves, it really gives it to the player to think of what they think is the right decision, the right one to make.
It's so good.
And I don't know if you can agree with me here, but I feel like on my first playthrough, the Stormcloaks did seem like the saviours.
The downtrodden
good
guys.
But then I really feel like once you have your second playthrough, maybe even your third playthrough, you kind of realise that once you start reading between the lines that the writing on the wall ain't so clear.
Yeah, it might not be what it seems.
Yeah. And especially once you get to hear the Imperial side, it really makes you think how Ulfric really isn't the man he portrays himself to be.
No, and that's another thing is the supporters of these sides are very different. So, Stormcloaks are led by, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. Okay, now Stormcloak supporters, you come at me,
Well, I've got to say before you say that, I used to be a diehard Stormcloak fan.
Me too.
100%.
Everyone and their nan was.
Because again, I feel like to detract from Elder Scrolls a bit, we've all seen Star Wars, right? We have the Empire and the Rebels.
Yeah.
You know, it's that classic kind of, who do you vote for? You go for the Rebels. You go for the
Always. Yeah.
the underdogs. You know,
Yeah.
and that's what the Stormcloaks are made to feel like. The underdogs that have lost their voice, lost their worship of Talos, lost their rights.
It's their homeland.
Yeah.
And they're not allowed to worship their own god. What's that about? Yeah, so
it's a slippery slope. It's a sticky one.
Yeah, I think another cool thing about this conflict is that the Imperials, while they are, and I'm going to say it, the Imperials are in the right here. The real threat is the Old Merry Dominion.
Yes, but they are true in Skyrim.
That's
if
the
you
real
really,
enemy here.
Once you realise, the Old Merry Dominion, the Thalmor are the big bad wolf.
So the people who support the Empire are usually quite pompous and bad people. The people who support the Stormcloaks are usually quite decent, good people.
Like, again, how many of the farmers outside the cities, outside the towns, are agreeing with Ulfric's ruling?
Yeah.
Who side for him?
I don't think Ulfric's a very good person to rally behind, though.
No, and it's like, I can't remember, who's the, I forgot her name. Rayloff's,
sister?
Yes.
Gerda.
Like, when you speak to her about, she is so passionate.
Oh, yeah.
About,
she gives you a nice bit of groundwork about the whole situation as well.
And it's like, no wonder, I'm pretty sure most people, their first time playing Skyrim, go with Rayloff at the start of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially if you start talking to people, you really feel like, oh, damn, the Empire isn't...
They're about to cut off my head. I didn't do anything wrong.
And I love that because, again, it's amazing storytelling.
Yeah, it's brilliant storytelling.
It tells you one thing, but does it mean the other?
Yeah, and that's exactly it. It doesn't tell you which side is right.
It's up to you to decide what's the right decision to make and what you believe in, your morals.
Now this brings to mind a fantastic TV show, the brilliant show Breaking Bad. It's Vince Gilligan says this is a man who's downtrodden, but all the while slowly hinting at you that this man is not someone to be sympathised with. And this sort of is the same. This is like the same sort of
good storytelling
at the start of Skyrim. Right here on this computer screen, we have the start of Skyrim for you. We're going to play it, and we're going to let you make your own judgments. I mean, I'm sure all of you have played it, but right here is the very start, the very first thing you see in Elder Scrolls V.
I'm going to do a little analysis on this.
Of course, everyone knows and loves this moment.
It never fails to almost give me goosebumps every time I hear that music and that the text.
And something I also do think is, I do believe this music isn't used anywhere else in the game.
Nope, it isn't.
Is it just this one piece? That's amazing. Yep. And there he is, the man himself.
But if I'm not mistaken, it's the only time I remember.
Yeah, no, I don't remember it either. Here it comes.
Hey, you're finally awake. You were trying to cross the border, right? Walked right into that Imperial ambush, same as us, and that thief over there.
Damn you Stormcloaks. Skyrim was fine until you came along. Empire was nice and lazy.
First bad hint.
Looking for you.
And the fact it puts you in the car with Ulfric Stormcloak himself.
Yes.
You are in the exact same situation as these Stormcloak rebels.
All brothers and sisters in Pines now.
Well said.
Shut up back there.
What's wrong with him?
Again, that little line there from the Imperial soldier. Shut up back there.
The true High King.
Really doesn't fill you with high hopes for the Imperials, does it?
You're the leader of the rebellion.
And now we know that this man is a big deal.
You. Oh gods, where are they taking us?
I don't know where we're going. But Sovngarde awaits.
No, this can't be happening. This isn't happening.
Yeah, and now we know what's about to happen.
What village are you from, horse thief?
Why do you care?
A Nord's last thoughts should leave home.
Rorikstead. I'm from Rorikstead.
General Tullius, sir. The headsman is waiting.
Good. Let's get this over with.
Sure. Mara, Debella, Kinnereth, Akatosh, Divines, please help me.
And as well, I'm going to say the fact you're in a cart with Ulfric Stormcloak, another Stormcloak rebel, a horse thief, and a guy who presumably shouldn't be there, doesn't actually really give you too much faith in the Imperial ruling.
It doesn't paint them in the best light, does it?
It paints them as really quite ruthless and
cruel.
Yeah.
This is Helgen. I used to be sweet on a girl from here. I wonder if Velod is still making that mead with juniper berries with a stick. Funny, when I was a boy, imperial walls and towers used to make me feel
Classic writing technique there. That's him going over a fond memory, which will help the viewer to relate to him a bit more. Again,
helping you feel more for the Stormcloaks.
Pitting you in the Stormcloaks corner.
Yeah.
These intentional decisions from the writers.
Again, like you said with Vince Gilligan in Breaking Bad, it's like
it's intentionally trying to make you like water.
And just seeing how long you'll stick with them for.
Let's go. Shouldn't keep the gods waiting for us.
No, wait, we're not rebels.
Face your death with some courage, thief.
You've got to tell them we weren't with you. This is a mistake.
Step towards the block when we call your name. One at a time.
Empire loves their damn lists.
Ulfric Stormcloak, Jarl of Windhelm.
It
There
has
we go.
been an honor, Jarl Ulfric.
Ralof of Riverwood. Lokir of Rorikstead.
No, I'm not a rebel. You can't do this.
And again, I think this only just further shows the ruthlessness of the Imperial ruling.
Oh, and there we
I
go.
know he was an escaping prisoner, but
You there.
it's the thing of, was he right to be arrested in the first place?
That's it.
Should he even be there?
Who are
Same with you.
Character creation. Yeah, so what was this just shown us? Oh, he's going for Argonian. Interesting. It's shown us that the Empire is not exactly kind, but what I think the real thing here is that they're just doing what needs to be done, and no one's perfect. They probably shouldn't have picked up the Dragonborn.
No, clearly not. Because again, if they did execute the Dragonborn, hey ho, looks like Alduin would have
enslaved the world again.
Yeah.
But it looks to me like this may be like divine intervention. The Imperials picking up the Dragonborn, bringing them to that spot.
But I think the irony is so perfect. You're being captured by the Imperials, who are supposedly, I don't know if you could really be as black and white as this, but they're good guys.
Yeah.
And you are technically being saved by the bad guy of the game.
Yeah. It's ironic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very very poetic.
Yeah. This guy's really taking his time, isn't he? Yeah. So, look. So what happens after when you pick your character? He makes a unique
You with
comment.
one of the trade caravans, Khajiit?
So he picked
Kind always
Khajiit. Very
seems to
nice.
find trouble.
Who kind always seems to find trouble, eh?
What should we do? He's not on the list.
This is a very bad moment.
Forget the list. He goes to the block.
It's like, Imperials, really? You're not meant to like the Imperials. It's very clear.
Follow the captain, prisoner.
But they're going to have you executed.
Yeah, you're
for
not meant to be on
nothing.
the list. He just told you you're not on that list. She made you die anyway.
And they don't even actually say what you've done.
Here we go.
Caught crossing the border.
Call you a hero, but a hero doesn't use a power like the voice to murder his king and usurp his throne.
Okay, so Ulfric's a murderer,
You
right?
started this war.
Or so they say.
Skyrim into chaos. And now the Empire is going to put you down and restore the peace.
This was the moment Alduin returned.
What was it?
It's nothing. Carry on.
Yes, General Tullius. Give them their last rites.
Say returned.
As we commend your souls
Came,
yeah.
to Ethereum,
Re-emerged.
blessings of the eight divines upon
You could say return.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Let's get this over.
Returned from our lens.
As you wish.
From our standpoint.
To be fair, that's got to be one of my favourite lines of dialogue in
Come
Skyrim.
on. I haven't
Shut up and let's get on with this.
Yeah, I do
got a
like
warning.
the Stormcloaks.
Yeah, no, they have that. The rebellions, they have that edge.
You're always excited by a rebellion.
Yeah.
And there he goes.
Off with his head.
The first of many.
You imperial bastards!
Justice!
Death to the Stormcloaks!
As fearless in death as he was in life.
And as well, even down to the music, the eerie music.
Yeah. I do believe there's actually dungeon music.
Yeah.
There it is again.
It's like
Why are they playing that there? Strange.
It works though.
It does work.
Prisoner!
To the
Yeah,
block,
it's like
nice and easy.
ruins and like
Yeah, that's it.
dungeons and
yeah, when you're in the midst of a. And here we go. This is where everything goes to crap.
What in oblivion is that?
Sentries! What do you see?
It's in the clouds. Dragon. Dragon storm call shout. Headsman's now dead. There you go. Who's the first person you see?
who's the first person who helps you?
Rayloff, a Stormcloak. Cool. Right. Yes, that's terrible.
Skyrim has a...
Yes, we don't mind. We don't want to know. We don't want to know. Right.
Don't
So
wanna know.
yeah. So who is the first person that helps you? This man right here.
And I
Rayloff.
definitely think that sets up a precedent for the rest of it, especially your escape, because this guy is willing to help you get out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just it. That is just it.
And there's nothing stopping you from siding with the Imperials, but even down to the fact that the Stormcloak, because there's two entrances you can go through at the start of the game or the intro, and the one closest to you even is the Stormcloak with Rayloff.
Yeah. You know the guy.
It really does
that
feel
little-
like it's
You get a touch of sympathy for the Empire with Hadvar.
No,
sorry,
you do.
When he
you
says
do.
he says I'm sorry.
Oh, and then he's like, oh,
Make sure your remains are returned to there. You know, it's like what do we do? He's not on the list. He's trying to help.
yeah, he feels the weight of what's going on.
Yeah, he feels bad.
Yeah. He's just a man following orders.
Yeah, yeah, and that again that shows his the loyalty of Hadvar.
At the same time, the brutalities of war.
Yes,
these things
war
happen.
isn't pretty.
Innocent people and bystanders get roped into it, especially in the province of Skyrim. Everybody in that province feels the weight of what's going on.
Yeah,
And it really does show.
does it just?
And I think as well, me personally, I think Hadvar is a great character.
Hadvar's a brilliant character. Yeah,
And to be fair, I do wish I knew more about him. But from playing the game multiple times through, I have picked siding with the Stormcloaks many a time.
oh, me too. Yeah,
And I must say, I do love Rayloff as a character. His morals, the way he feels, you really feel like he believes he's doing the right thing. He is helping and giving his province
just have a listen to this. This is how much of a good man Rayloff is.
It has been an honor, Jarl Ulfric.
like he
I just love
really
these lines.
really does praise to Ulfric.
A Nord's last thoughts should be of home.
Like you can,
Oh.
I don't know what would you say about? Because he is just painted in the light of being a good guy.
Who Rayloff?
Yeah.
Yes.
Of a genuine person who believes he is fighting. He's fighting for what he believes in.
Yeah,
to the death.
It may be misguided,
And
but he believes it.
And the fact he has gone his whole life this way and is willing to die for what he believes in.
Yeah, and that's just it. It's
and the fact you see
adorable.
that at the start of the game, it's like, oh, damn! You feel the weight.
Yeah. So Hadvar on the other hand is, and I realise you were just talking about Hadvar, and I brought up Ralof, so I apologise about that.
No, again, I feel like those characters are interlinked.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, without a doubt. They are. Yeah, they're equivalent. They're just the Imperial side or the.
Yes.
I do love
They
Hadvar.
do go hand in hand.
Apart from what is this?
Dragonborn, huh? Was it your ma or your pa that was the dragon?
Oh, what a terrible line that is.
That really didn't sound too great, did it?
Okay. So
apparently Hadvar lives under a rock.
And has a terrible sense of humour.
Yes, all that.
Right. So what I think we should now start talking about is the higher ups in these on these respective sides.
Yeah.
So who is okay? So who do you want to start with? Do you want to start with the Stormcloaks or the Imperials?
I think we should start with the Imperials.
Imperials, right?
Because I must say, I believe in the story written. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I feel like siding with the Stormcloaks was kind of the way they wanted you to play.
Yes, without a doubt.
And I must say, even though I think siding with the Imperials is the morally right option, I believe the Stormcloak storyline is more interesting.
Yeah.
It feels like a rebellion. It feels like you're really, and especially I feel like it's a bit easier to get behind the Stormcloaks, to really feel like you're returning the country back to the Nords.
He's very prim and proper. He like General Tullius, for example, is very with it, and but Ulfric seems a bit more casual, and I think to a player that could have more appeal.
And to be fair, when you boil it down, I think it is because General Tullius is probably he's a general. It's what he does. I'm going to
be honest. I never really liked him.
No,
during the games.
I never really.
My playthroughs.
Even when I played through the Imperial storyline, I felt like all the characters in it just felt redundant. They just felt a bit not lackluster, but again, if you side with the story, they feel like they have more character behind them.
I'll tell you, they definitely felt lackluster to me.
No, they did. They just felt a bit void of just character. And even though, I guess that's just the way you say it, because when you side with the Imperials, it just feels like you're just a guy following orders. And it just feels a bit, not grindy, but it just feels a little bit, it's just not as interesting.
No.
And that's why I do feel like siding with the Stormcloaks does make for a better playthrough.
Yeah. It does make for a better playthrough.
Sorry, can I turn that down a second?
Of course you can. You can turn that down.
That got insanely loud.
It did get loud, but it also got epic, just like Skyrim is.
Yes, because I cannot get enough of that music. Can't lie.
Yeah. So right, here's the thing. When you play as an Imperial, there's always that sort of. But then again, it all depends on your standpoint. That's why this game is fantastic. Because if you play as an Imperial and you love what the Empire stands for, you won't have any regrets. I, for example, when I was really young and I started playing Skyrim, I really loved the Stormcloak General armor with the bear.
Yes, no, I've got to say that is one thing that, especially in the vanilla game, what makes the Imperials do have more appeal. I do think it's quite funny because it's almost like the Stormcloaks had the story, but then their armour was just guard armour. But then with the Imperials, they all seemed a bit lackluster. But then they had some really cool looking.
You get that bear armour when you before you march on Solitude.
That is cool armour. But apart from that, it's
you
all
have to
just,
wait all the quest line if you join the Stormcloaks. But if you join the Imperials,
Yeah.
you get to kill a general outside of Whiterun, and you get it straight away. So I used to join the Imperials just to get that Stormcloak bear armor. And then I remember always thinking, oh my playthrough feels so empty now that Ulfric's dead. I did that just to get the bear armor early, you know? Yeah, but you know, Tullius is a good man to you know sort of serve, because he's a good person. He is a good person. This is established.
Yeah, but I think that's it. He is a good person, but doesn't seem like one.
No.
He seems very cold and very. Again, it's just a bit devoid of, a bit void of character, and especially when you side with the Stormcloaks, they all give you their backstory as to what's happened to them, why they have turned to this way of being a rebel.
Yeah.
Or they always have a story to tell, especially a story to tell. Maybe as is really just propaganda against the Empire.
Yeah.
But they always have their reasons, and it makes it easier for you to back with the Stormcloaks, especially when you have so many people in Skyrim that don't like the ruling of the Imperials.
I mean, look at this here. Like, this is a quote from Tullius.
The Legion's always been here. Without us to keep order, the provinces would fall into barbarism and lawlessness. Especially Skyrim.
And that is true.
You might not want to admit it in your first few playthroughs, but it is true.
We have seen the state of Markarth. I think Markarth is probably one of the
yeah, and we will talk
example.
about the Markarth incident soon enough.
Mm-hmm.
That is yes, yeah.
But yeah, the fact of how corrupt Markarth is under Ulfric's ruling. It's crazy.
You're wrong, Ulfric. We need the Empire. Without it, Skyrim will assuredly fall to the Dominion.
Very true. Very true.
And this does make me think. I'm not sure if this is something that ever crossed Ulfric's mind with the Thalmor. If they were going to be a problem to him, if he even considered it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very fair to say that they are great power, and they do hold a definite hand over the Imperials.
So
the fact you even in the intro of the game you see General Tullius talking to Elenwyn.
So okay, let's go back to the Great War. It happened in Cyrodiil. You know, the Old Merry Dominion attacks, and Ulfric was part of the Empire. He tried to sort of fight along with everyone else, but he was taken prisoner of war. His interrogator was Elenwyn at the time. Did you know that?
I did not.
Elenwyn was the one who personally interrogated Ulfric. And did he give... I don't remember. Did he give up information? Can you remember?
No, we might have to look up.
Find this out.
Look it up.
Did Ulfric give information up? Because I think he did during the Great War. Because... Right, so...
Yes,
of course.
Yeah, ooh, that looks like a good thread, that.
Yeah.
I must say,
He got himself captured. He was tortured by Elenwyn herself. And that's actually all we know about what happened to him.
Right.
As far as we know, he knew like 2 shouts, and I seriously doubt he mastered them. So he was probably more useful than your average soldier, but less useful individually compared to, say, an Imperial battle mage. We know that he studied with the Greybeards for years, and then that's where he spent all his youth.
So
and then
how
he,
did? Because I don't
he
know.
was
How
called
did?
to war.
How did the Greybeards? Why did they teach him?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Because that's one thing I never really got. Because the Greybeards are very peaceful characters, are very neutral.
He was chosen by them to study. He was supposed to become a greybeard, and he learned the unrelenting force and disarm as part of his training. But when the Great War broke out, he felt it was his duty to fight for the Imperial army against the elves. All right?
Right, well, you heard it there first, folks.
And here he is, the man himself.
What I'm going to say, what a shift. What a shift. He goes from almost becoming a greybeard, a person of great power, great influence, and great neutrality, to be on the throat of the world, talking to dragons. And now he had a bit of change of heart.
Do you reckon Ulfric met Parthenax? He probably didn't get the chance to, right?
I would assume so. If he spoke.
Oh no, they say only if your voice is strong enough to open the way. You need clear skies. He didn't have that.
That's very true. No, yep, I suppose you're right. Again, if he only knew a couple shouts.
Right, so let's have a little look here. He was a veteran of the Great War. He holds deep resentment for the White Gold Concordat. So when it was signed, Ulfric didn't exactly resign straight away. He was
contested it.
He was angry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Went to Skyrim and helped with Markarth, because Markarth, during the Great War, was actually a forsworn country. The whole region of the Reach may as well have been its own country.
Yes, it was very independent.
Its own nation.
Yeah.
Ruled by Madanach. Ulfric completely destroyed Madanach and locked him up in Sidna Mine. Then Ulfric this was like the first sign of his evil. Not evil, he's not evil, but is his greed,
corruption.
his sort of corruption.
Which
ambition.
I think that's crazy, especially when you think of his roots.
Slyness. He said, Empire, I have regained Markarth for you. You will allow us to worship Talos here. Empire said, all right, okay, we'll do it, but just keep it quiet, yeah? Well, the elves found out, and then, they threatened another great war. They were like, well, you're worshipping Talos, you've broken the rules already. Mm-hmm. We will resume this war if you do not stop. And then the...
Yep. Rest is history, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that was when... That was... The Empire, if I'm correct, overthrew Ulfric and put him in jail. Him, with a small handful of men, broke out of jail, went to Windhelm.
That's when they started the Stormcloak
That's
rebellion.
when
Yes.
the Bear of Eastmarch, Ulfric's dad, was dead.
Yeah, because he died when he was in prison.
Ulfric didn't get to say goodbye,
and he got
enraged by this.
Yep, he definitely fueled his hatred for the Empire.
All of the citizens of Windhelm loved that Jarl, so they were angry as well. They say clamour. He said it was a clamour of angry voices calling out for justice, for war. They sat me on the throne of Ysgramor, the throne of my father. I only wish to be worthy of that honour. Again, it's just all this very, very complexness. It's not a word, but with Ulfric, you get lines where it's like, oh, you seem so genuine. But there are also parts of him where it's like, I'm not sure your cause is just.
Yeah, there's definitely times where I don't know, maybe, well, not the first playthrough, but definitely times where you do kind of question what he's saying.
And I think a moment where, I know it's kind of a little bit unrelated, but there's a moment where you sort of, if you've defeated Ulfric, and then you do the Dragonborn missions, the main quests, and you see him in Sovngarde, this is where you sort of think, oh man, Ulfric, I feel bad for you. So these are his lines in Sovngarde.
Skyrim was betrayed. The blood of her sons spilled in doomed struggle against fate. And so in death too late, I learned the truth. Fed by war, so waxed the power of Alduin World Eater. Wisdom now useless, by God's jest. In this grim mist, together snared, Stormcloak and Imperial, we wander hopeless, waiting for succor.
Everyone in Sovngarde seems to turn into Shakespeare. Have you noticed that? But yeah, no, he's saying.
But I like that though, because again, especially once you see, or again with Ulfric, characters you see in game, it almost is just like they've kind of realised their shortcomings. They've realised the error in their ways.
Yeah, he's saying there. He's saying, I realise now that the war was for nothing, and with all those dead men, we're just making Alduin stronger. So it's just like, oh dearie me, you realised a bit too late, buddy. So let's talk about some of
the wise words of the Cure. No one's a winner, no one's a loser, just a dead friend.
I do love the Cure. Okay, so do you know how Torig died?
I thought it was just not old age, but just like life factors. I thought
Ulfric killed him. You're thinking of someone else, aren't you?
Wait, who? Torig?
Torig, the king.
Yeah.
So, Sybil Stentor,
my bad,
the vampire in Solitude, she talks about Torig's murder. What she says is that they held a meeting about what to do about the White Gold Concordat. Ulfric was there, and he was talking about Skyrim's freedom, and in her words, in manners just shy of treason.
Yes, I remember that voice.
Just
that
shy. Torig, being the great guy he was actually willing to hear Ulfric out.
His last mistake.
I don't think Ulfric realised how much Torig respected him for that. That's what she said. He was willing to give him a fair hearing, you know.
I think it just shows
it wasn't enough for Ulfric.
But it's a shame because
Torig wasn't ready to let everything fall apart.
Yeah, just like General Tullius said, he plunged Skyrim into chaos after that moment. Really, he broke the province.
Yeah, he did. He split it in half.
And it's a shame because he's just made it a lot harder for everyone. Because, if I'm honest, after the state of Skyrim, I think the Thalmor, will just swoop in there and just take control.
Yep.
Because it's a broken province and they really are a background boogeyman.
Without a doubt. Almost certainly. So, okay, I do believe Torig said no to this idea. He had greater plans in mind for Skyrim. He wanted to keep it united. Ulfric left and he came back, walked right through the gates. And Torig believed he was here to talk. But apparently before anything could happen, Ulfric was challenging him. Torig drew his sword, because I think Torig accepted it. He did accept it. And he was
with begrudgingly
unrelenting forced to the floor.
Yeah, he got shouted.
Everyone says that's what killed him, but Ulfric seems to say that he then stabbed him after.
Yeah, and this is where it's just a bit clouded, and I kind of love that because it's definitely on the player for you to do your own research on because I don't think it's really in the case of who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, but more the case of what do your morals align with more.
Yeah.
And again, if you look at some of the stuff Ulfric has done, horrible stuff.
Ulfric explains why he killed King Torig.
But then at the same time, General Tullius has done the Imperial has done some pretty bad stuff. You see it at the start of the game. They nearly have an innocent man executed and a horse thief is killed for trying to run away, which is, you know, is that fair? Is that just to the player? Does that align with your morals?
Let's see what Ulfric has to say about this. Very quiet. Very, very quiet indeed.
How is the High King supposed to be the defender of Skyrim?
Very quiet. Some call you a murderer.
There you go.
I challenged him in the traditional way, and he accepted. There were many witnesses. No murder was committed. True, he didn't stand a chance against me. But that was precisely the point. He was a puppet king of the Empire, not a High King of Skyrim. His father before him, perhaps, but not Torrik.
Eastlod.
He was too privileged and too foolish. More interested in entertaining his queen than ruling his country.
Is that fair to say?
Indeed. Elisif has become Jarl of Solitude. Historically and conveniently home of the High King, backed by imperial interests. But the Moot has not yet met to name her High Queen. And they won't. Not as long as I have any say in it.
Interesting. Okay. Well, there you go. There you go. So what's this telling us? It's saying that he feels very strongly about the situation and he will not rest until he gets what he wants or dies trying. Now, some may see that as exemplar of a good leader. But unfortunately, I think there's a lot more going on here. I don't think he's... personally, I don't think his words really have much merit.
Yes.
He seems to contradict himself a lot.
Yeah. Out of anyone in the game, seems to contradict his own morals. And seems to, as a character, seems to honestly blur the lines.
Yeah.
Whether he is a fair and just character. And I don't think so. And I don't think so. What are we looking at here?
The Emperor would turn Skyrim into a...
The Emperor would turn Skyrim into a puppet of the Dominion. I, for one, would not care to dance for the amusement of those foul elves.
And I don't think the Empire wants to do that either. but they were against the wall.
Yes.
So they had to do something. And I think, really... this white gold concordat it's strategy. It's strategy. It's not the Empire laying down and letting the Thalmor win. They're preserving themselves.
Yes.
And I think if they're going to build their strength back up to defeat the Dominion, this is something that needed to happen. The Old Merry Dominion was winning. They were destroying the Empire.
And I'm sorry to say, they are more powerful than the Empire.
Yes.
And very much so, they could completely destroy the Empire. And I honestly think that is probably what would have happened.
And I'm sorry, but they could also completely destroy the Stormcloaks.
Yes, because forget the don't forget the Thalmor and the Imperials and Stormcloaks are at war with each other. They are both weakened and stretched thin.
So do you think the Thalmor could destroy the Stormcloaks?
Yeah, either or. I think the Thalmor. I'm sorry. Damn you! Did you mean to do that?
He wasn't happy about that. I did it on purpose. The Thalmor could destroy the Stormcloaks. Oh dear. But
now you're just making me mad.
All right, I'm gonna stop. But yeah,
yeah.
So there you go. That's just it. But guys, look. While you may love Ulfric Stormcloak, you may hate him. There are many sources throughout the game from unbiased standpoints, documents on Ulfric. One being, and this was one of the deciding things for me, because as of the past few years, I've come away from the Stormcloaks. Every time I've been playing as Imperials. One of the main factors because of this is the book, The Bear of Markarth.
This is a book I still need to read in Skyrim.
I've
so
read
this
it a
will
few
be
times.
Interesting to me.
It's in the Bard's College. It can be found in the Arcanium. 2
Yeah, you can
copies
find
are
it
at Bloodlet
there, yeah.
Throne. It's in Dragon's Reach. It's in Jorvaska, House of the Battleborn.
Yeah.
Moorside Inn and Nightgate Inn. Alright, let me read it to you. It's fairly short, so here we go. Ulfric Stormcloak is considered a hero by many for his part in quelling the Forsworn uprising. It is said that when the Empire abandoned Skyrim and the natives of the Reach rebelled, undoubtedly due to the Nords' poor treatment of them, Ulfric Stormcloak and his militia were there to retake their land from the Forsworn. In all the bravado and epic yarns the Skalds compose of his exploits, you would think Ulfric to be a giant of a man, equal to that of Tiber Septim in his cunning, leadership, and decisive actions. But the truth is far more revealing. Yes, from 4E 174 to 176, the Forsworn did in fact rule over the Reach as an independent kingdom from Skyrim. Yes, this was accomplished while the Empire was beset by Old Merry Dominion forces and could not send the Legion to re-establish order. And yes, Ulfric Stormcloak did quell the rebellion without Imperial assistance. That much is true. But what the bards often fail to tell in their stories is that the Forsworn kingdom was actually quite peaceful for those 2 years they were in power. True, some crimes were committed against former Nord landowners, often those accused of being the harshest towards their native workers. But on the whole, the Forsworn ruled their lands fairly, and were making overtures to be recognised by the Empire as a legitimate kingdom.
Wow, who would have thought?
In the wake of the aftermath of the Great War, you can imagine the backlog on stately matters the Empire had. Before a peace treaty could be resolved with the Forsworn, a militia led by Ulfric Stormcloak sieged the gates of the capital, Markarth. What happened during the battle was war, but what happened after the battle was over is nothing short of war crimes. Does that sound like a kingly man? Probably not. Every official who worked for the Forsworn was put to the sword, even after they had surrendered. War crime. Native women were tortured to give up the names of the Forsworn fighters who had fled to the city or were in the hills of the Reach. Anyone who lived in the city, Forsworn and Nord alike, were executed if they had not fought with Ulfric and his men when they breached the gates. Quote, "You are with us or you are against Skyrim," quote, was the message on Ulfric's lips as he ordered the deaths of shopkeepers, farmers, the elderly, and any child old enough to lift a sword that had failed in the call to fight with him. So, when a grateful empire accepted Ulfric's victory and sent soldiers to re-establish the rule of law in the Reach, it was no surprise that he would then demand to be allowed to worship Talos freely before the Legion could enter. With chaos running through the streets of Markarth and the reports of deaths rising every day, the Empire had no choice but to grant Ulfric and his men their worship. He was causing more casualty and doing more damage to people who still were good people because the Empire wasn't giving him the opportunity to worship Talos. We allowed them to worship Talos in full violation of the White Gold Concordat, with the Old Merry Dominion, which recognises the elven belief that Talos as a human cannot be one of the Divines, in jeopardising the treaty that so many sacrificed for during the Great War. The Empire was wrong. But what choice did they have, I ask you? Against the Bear of Markarth, Ulfric Stormcloak, no is not an answer.
He is an unstoppable force that really will...
Especially when he's angry.
Stop at nothing to
what
get what he wants.
Dangerous man. And that book really shifted my opinion on him. Now, who's to say if any of this was right? Again.
Or again, the amount of things in Skyrim that tell you one thing but actually mean another.
Suggest
it's
another.
on you to decide what where your morals
So
lie.
do you think this book is conjecture?
I believe so.
Really?
Sorry, conjecture?
False.
Oh, no, sorry. I just have a grasp on a bad grasp on the English language.
No.
I think it really does show, especially because you see the state of Markarth under his ruling. It's awful. It's so unbelievably corrupt. And again, it's the second time you get taken prisoner.
In essence, the Empire, the Stormcloaks, while Ulfric may not be a great man, there's a goal he wants to achieve, and that's a free Skyrim.
Which I'm sure you can get behind that. It's everybody...
Even if he just does want the throne. He may be lying. Freedom. He may just be lying. And to be honest, the more I play Skyrim...
No. I get what you're saying there, but I don't believe so.
As Salen says, he uses it as his rallying cry.
Because you hear what he says in Sovngarde. He sounds so...
Yeah, but that's after his death, and seeing Alduin firsthand. See, it will completely break a man's ego, seeing that.
Yeah, I really do believe, though, that he was doing the right thing.
Or believed he was, because he was not. I don't think killing children is a right thing.
Yeah, but no.
That's just it.
Yeah, don't kill kids. That is a bad thing to do.
Yeah. Or elderly, or shopkeepers.
Yes, that as
well.
well.
I don't think they deserve it.
And as well, war crimes. That is not a good one to put on your bucket list. Not one you want to be on your bucket list, but apparently it was for Ulfric. And
the ends don't always justify the means.
100%. And I think Ulfric really kind of did believe in that. And you could say that with a lot of people in the Elder Scrolls universe. The amount of people who really do believe in what they're doing. And really do believe they're doing the right thing. And again, ends don't justify the means. And I think it took him to die, to go to Sovngarde, to really, truly realise that. That he is not as big of a man as he thought he was, and that he has just needlessly caused more pain and agony in this land.
It's true.
That,
yeah.
Really didn't need to be done, because I don't know about you, my man, but I really do believe that the Thalmor are the people we should be.
Do you think they'll be the main villain in Elder Scrolls 6?
To be fair, I don't know, but I kind of hope so. Because I really kind of want to have at them.
Yeah, and I think everyone else does as well.
Because again, they are the people pulling the strings of the Imperials.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
What's that? Oh, I forget everybody's bloody name. Not General Tullius, but the second-hand lady. Fuck.
Oh, sorry, Legate Ricker.
Yes, got a funny last name.
Absolutely.
But like one of the things you say to her is what's the line that you say about the Thalmor to her?
Oh God.
I know you'll remember that.
What's that?
When you speak about the Thalmor to her.
Yeah, so she says
a great line.
She says
it's a great line.
Yeah, so she says her parents were legionnaires. She loves this land. Ulfric's deluding himself. If there's ever a hope of a long-term victory against the Dominion, it's in the Empire. You can then ask her, do you consider the Thalmor enemies? She will then say, I consider this conversation over.
And I think it says it all. They can't say. Because I really do believe that the Thalmor is pulling the strings on the Imperials.
Absolutely.
I really feel like they have a hand over them.
Yep, without a doubt.
And the Imperials feel it because they need help. They are kind of desperate. And I think it shows. Maybe it is desperation that led them to have your head on a chopping block. You know? Just out of pure desperation. To anyone who they feel might challenge them. It's a sad turn of events. And,
yeah.
And again, you can really get that when you talk to anyone in Skyrim, especially the good old commoners, the nitty gritty people who do all the needed work, all the farmers, all the landowners. they really feel the weight of what's going on in Skyrim.
Without a doubt.
Those are the people who probably feel it the most.
Couldn't have chosen a better David Troubley.
And
I didn't ask, Kaiden. I didn't ask.
Nice little modded follower there.
Yes. So, would you say, just so we can show,
yeah,
who would you say is the most relatable, sort of supporter of all of them? I want to speak to Sareland, because Sareland I've been mentioning a couple times throughout this.
Yes, I don't think I've spoken to them too much. So.
Now, I've already won in the Empire's favour on my playthrough, so it might be hard tracking down some Stormcloak supporters. I have to put them to the sword. No, because I'm not like Ulfric. I am fair and just in my playthroughs.
I'm not so sure about that. He probably did kill every Stormcloak.
Now, if they're a farmer and they just want to grow their crops, then I'll leave them to it.
Because everybody needs to get by in Skyrim. Everybody needs you know.
Oh yes, I've completely forgotten.
Did you kill everyone?
I've forgotten that if I want to find Sareland, I've got to go to Windhelm.
He's in prison.
No. They'll be in the Palace of the Kings. It's where they go when they're exiled.
They all return.
This is something
to
though. This is something interesting. We can.
How many people? Is this something you've done or a mod?
No. It's part of the game when you defeat. Yeah. So when you defeat.
I do the cooking and
I must have never been there.
Good to know. When you. Not what you said. What he said.
Oh wow, that looks good.
Yes, mods, guys.
Yeah, it looks lovely.
Mods.
And I do think that is one of the things that keeps Skyrim going to this very day. The only reason why we can still play it.
The people of Riften depended on me, and I failed them.
What will you do now?
I feel so helpless out here. If Riften can be retaken, I will redouble my efforts to ensure the safety of my subjects and the defense of the Rift.
I don't think it's ever going to be retaken. Hey, look, and you can really twist the knife here and ask her, I see your court is now in exile.
Unmid and Anuriel shouldn't blame themselves for Riften's fall. I am the one who's ultimately responsible. The people of Riften depended on me, and I failed them.
Bless her. She genuinely wanted the best for her people. But here is Sareland. Now this guy, he's known for his good points.
Did you need something?
Here we go. Why not just keep quiet about politics?
Wise up, friend. There's a storm on the horizon, and it will blow through here with all its fury. One day, you'll be forced to make a choice, and I hope it's the right one.
Okay, I think his line has disappeared because the war is now over. So, I apologise about that, but he does mention Ulfric's rallying cry, and I think, from Sareland's perspective, Ulfric is definitely a manipulator.
Where was the snow?
To be honest, horrible.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And here we have
Skyrim.
Amazing Skyrim dialogue.
The guy who takes Ulfric's place after the war is won.
It's good to see you again.
Is Brunwolf Freewinter. How are you settling into your new role?
Every day is a struggle. But a Nord doesn't back down from a fight when the cause is honorable. I just wish things were simpler. In my days as a soldier, I knew who the enemy was and how to defeat him.
I think he really fits into this aesthetic as well.
Can't repair
this man.
Buildings, feed hungry people, or undo years of prejudice.
Well said.
Keep safe.
And obviously, I am considered his friend.
So, at this point, so what is he? Is he fighting for, or is he a pretty neutral character?
Who, Brunwolf?
Yes.
He's already won, obviously. He's the Jarl of Windhelm now, and his plans are to renew the Grey Quarter and eventually let the Argonians into the city, which will be fantastic.
That would be very progressive.
And look, what happens when Ulfric wins? You know, he nothing changes. You know, and I personally think an Ulfric-ruled Skyrim is going to be quite a bad place to live in.
Yes. I just don't think, as much as he is a good soldier, as much as he might be a good fighter, I don't think he is the ruler for Skyrim.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as much as he said about Torek, he just kind of called him a puppet.
I don't think he was.
I don't think he was as well.
Everyone loved Torrig.
And as well, yes, he might not have been a warrior. He might not have been a fighter grown up like you. But he is still been put in that position of power. He is still worthy of his status.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's unfair for Ulfric to think that. And the fact that he really did believe, so much so that he challenged him to a fight and he knew that he was going to win is, I think, really quite arrogant. It's really quite a horrible thing to do, especially since he was thinking he was doing the right thing.
Well, there you go. But, as we say, there are 1,000 different viewpoints to view this thing from.
Yes, yeah. It's what makes it all the more exciting.
Yeah. Well then, there you go. As I say, there's loads to unpack, but I'm pretty happy with what we've discussed. How about you?
Yeah, me too. I don't know if there's any more talking points we.
Well, we'll be sure to bring it up next time when we come back to you with some more Elder casts. Thanks very much for watching. Take care. We'll see you soon.